All right, well, camera just started recording by itself, so I'm going to take it as a sign that we're getting started. Hello, Leo, my lovely, lovely Leos. We are back at it again with the Thoth deck today, all shuffled up and laid out. And I'm feeling pretty solar today. I got some time at the beach this morning, soaked up some sunshine, so feeling like I'm able to connect with you Leos pretty well. Solar friends, you know, the sun being the leader or the ruler of Leo, rather. So maybe that's a relevant message. Like, take some time to get outside in the sunshine if you can manage it, and reconnect with what that energy means for you, especially. All right, so let's get right into this reading. First card for your significator, we have the Aeon. This is like the world card. Odd. So I'm looking at this card trying to get a sense of what the message is. And I'm finding that my eyes are drawn to the Hebrew letter Shin, I believe is what it is. This letter right here at the figure's feet, also right there. Or is it Sin, Shin? I'm not an expert in Hebrew. But then I found my eyes pulled downwards to the member. But specifically, as I was looking at it, I was thinking about the male buddies. I don't want to say it on here in case I get in trouble or something, but like this I was thinking on my way to the beach this morning about the number 3, and I feel like it's connecting to this card because part of that thinking was I was considering where the number 3 presents itself naturally in the human experience. And obviously we have the mother and the father and the child. That's a given. But I was thinking on more like fundamental terms. And so I was thinking about the fact that we have 2 nipples and a belly button. You know, these 2 points where we're providing or giving nourishment symbolically or literally. And then the umbilical cord being connected to that place where we take in nourishment and receive it. And then I was also thinking about the male genitalia and how those 2 buddies, you know, are kind of like these receptacles, these places where the energy coalesces and is sort of created and housed, but their fusion takes place in the other member, and that's, you know, where life kind of exits. But for me, what this is really calling attention to is like a creative process or feeling very creative. Yeah, I'm getting like, I'm trying to like turn it so that it's less, you know, sexually focused, but it keeps going back to that. Like, now I just look down at the figure's face and you see how the finger's kind of like almost playfully there, like, oh, you're looking at me, oops, that sort of energy. It's like playful and sultry and, you know, definitely like fertile and creative, of course, but there's like this real physical component to whatever this is that I'm seeing here. And, you know, of course, the symbolism of the world, of the Aeon, is very womb-like. And with this male figure situated within the womb, you know, it calls into that process, that commingling of essences that comes together and creates the third principle, the mother and the father, or the masculine, the feminine, the light and the dark, and, you know, the world, the sun, the moon, and the earth. maybe we'll come back to that as we're kind of watching the rest of this story. Covering you, we have the Prince of Discs right here. So it could be that there's an earth sign involved, somebody who's very steady, very pragmatic, methodical in their approach to things, or is literally a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. Could also be calling your attention to the sun being in Virgo right now, and Mercury being in the sun sign in Leo, and thinking about what that exchange represents. Like, the ruler of Virgo is in the sun sign, who is in the sign of Mercury, the ruler of Virgo. So there's like this exchange of energy taking place, this switching roles, this role switching, or this, again, the key word that I'm hearing is like commingling. And whether it's literally like an exchange, if you get what I'm saying, going back to the more erotic themes that were coming up earlier, or if it's more like that's more metaphorical for the process that's unfolding. Because, I mean, as above, so below, you know, it could take shape like this on one level, but if you look at it from a different angle or from a different form of manifestation, it's different. It doesn't have to be something sexual, but there is still that dynamic exchange taking place, and everybody is, I'm hearing attenuating. I don't know if that's the word that I'm looking for, but it's what's coming to mind. Sort of harmonizing, or I'm hearing like injecting. Like, I'm seeing snails, like mating snails. Like, you know how they're hermaphroditic, so when they mate, you know, they're both principles at the same time, like the active and the passive, or the dynamic and the receptive. Like, they're both embodying the two archetypes completely within themselves, and then they come together, and it's like this really, I don't want to say weird, but it's like these two whole participants who are complete and whole unto themselves, coming together and creating something. Crossing you, we have the Death card. Scorpio. My favorite card. And that could be calling out to the Scorpio aspect of the situation I'm talking about, where it's like a commingling of essences on a primordial level. Could also be literally calling out Scorpio in your chart, which for you I believe is your 4th house, Leo. Currently, you don't have anything transiting Scorpio that I'm aware of, but I know that Uranus is in Taurus, opposite Scorpio, so kind of activating that house by aspect. And that feels very deathy to me. Like, it's very transformative, very change-oriented, very revolutionary. So that energy can be kind of not preventing, maybe preventing, but like inserting itself into your experience. Shaking things up. Like, I'm looking back at the Prince of Discs again, and I'm hearing like the wheels on rock, and like the deep earthy rumble as he's passing over the ground. Like it feels powerful and loud and deep and resonant, and it's moving the earth. Could be you. At the base of the reading, we have the Empress, Venus. Need I say more? Like, that to me feels very much like a callback to the sensuous scenario I was seeing initially. Could also be calling out to the fact that Venus is in Virgo currently at about like 27 degrees today, I think, as I'm recording this. Somewhere in the last decan of Virgo. Co-present with your ruler, the sun. So maybe there's kind of a fusion of those energies in your life. You know, the sun being your ruler, his movements sort of not necessarily dictating, but coloring how your experience is unfolding. As a Leo, it's now got the added addition of Venus being in the mix. You know, the alchemy between the sun and Venus, this very pure, powerful, fiery, passionate experience of being alive. Very sensory, very, I'm hearing clairvoyant, which is interesting. Because if you think of like the sun as like the power of vision, the power of sight, and Venus being like the color that's perceived with that vision, it was interesting that clairvoyant came to my mind, because it's almost like you're maybe seeing not things that aren't there, but seeing things, I'm hearing, as they could be. But definitely, I feel like this is a period of time where you're reconnecting with that Venusian principle of sensory enjoyment, of love, romance, of creativity. Maybe you're feeling very artistic and fertile in a different way. But it could very well be calling out to that more primal aspect of human experience. And, you know, maybe somebody is pregnant, and that is sort of like the transformation that's taking place, because your life is shifting around what that's going to look like, what it's going to look like after this, now that you've entered into this particular chapter. Like, what, it's changed the shape and the form, you know, it's transformed. And it's, I'm looking up at this card too, because crowning your reading, we have the Two of Discs right here, this principle of change. But I'll come back to that in a moment. Behind you, we have the Knight of Cups. That feels pretty romantic to me. Somebody coming forward and revealing their feelings to you, revealing their intentions. You know, I'm looking at this crab that's in the cup that he's holding up, and it's almost like, yeah, I look like I have all this armor on and I seem tough and impenetrable, but I'm really soft and squishy and buttery on the inside, and I'm gonna show you that. There's a peacock in this card as well, which I don't think I've ever noticed before. And I heard he's peacocking around, like he's impressed, and now he's gonna dress to impress. And definitely, like, disregard any gender usage that I put into play here. The Knight of Cups is just more like the archetypally masculine principle of this suit. So the more active, like participating, like I'm making things happen energy. Part of me is wondering if like there's more than one person involved here. Or maybe this is part of the transformation. Okay, so you have the Knight of Cups behind you, like I said, but then crossing you, kind of forming like this bridge to what I have as the Knight of Swords before you is the Death card. So it could be like this principle of transforming from this energy, from this Knight of Cups, you know, watery, emotional, maybe even romantic energy, into something that's more discerning and a little bit more cold, objective. I heard unencumbered. That's a weird word. Somebody who's a little bit more diligent and deliberate with how their energy is directed. And it can be kind of cutting because they have a vision in mind, they have an idea, and they're charging forward with it, and they don't care if they're going to be slicing through spider webs that these poor spiders have been spending weeks or months to build. You know, it's kind of a weird image, but I think it kind of conveys this idea of rushing through, even if it means destroying the hard work of somebody else. So if this is representing like another person, maybe this is calling attention to a sort of change that's occurred in them as a result of whatever this death, whatever brought about this death, which I feel is very connected to this Empress right here, this Venus card. And I don't want to linger on this particular image, but it's coming up again. Like if somebody got pregnant, and obviously take this metaphorical if you can. Like if somebody got pregnant and the mother to be, the mother to be, shares the news with her partner, maybe this is what catalyzes this transformation from what was like romantic and innocent and lovey-dovey into something that's more like, oh shit, we got to get our stuff together and we're going to do it because we have to. Like this Knight of Swords, like maybe kind of erratic and panicky sort of energy. Like I totally see that with these cards here. And I want to go back and focus on this Two of Coins right here, this change card that's crowning your reading. It's the first decan of Capricorn, which for you is your 6th house. But Capricorn fundamentally is like I was saying in Cancer's reading, Capricorn is like the culmination of our material effort and work. So it's like whatever this transformation, whatever this change is that's unfolding, it's like it's necessary in order for the form to take shape, in order for whatever this creation, whatever this commingling of essences has created, these things are shifting around and pieces are changing or being repainted, and wallpaper's being stripped. I don't know why I'm hearing that, but this idea of changing the environment to act as more supportive for whatever this creation is, making space for it in some way, and like literally preparing like a nursery for a baby type of energy. Take that as you will. We'll see if we go back to that, but for your self card down here and where you're at with this particular scenario, we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Another knight. Yeah, I'm almost seeing, like, with this card, it's like there's so much energy available to you right now that it's just like it's bursting out of you. Like, you have so much creative potential locked away inside of you that it's just like you're bursting at the seams. It's like coming out of your ears and your eyes and your mouth and everywhere. It's just, there's no containing this energy. The fact that he's reversed, like, that energy is kind of directed downward visually, like maybe kind of manifesting in a sexual way, or just kind of coalescing in those energy centers in the body. Maybe contributing to a sense of restlessness in yourself, like not really being able to sit still, like feeling like you have to be doing something, like there's something at every given moment, there's something that you can be doing, something that you can be working on or creating. Like you can't sit still. You just have so much, like it almost feels fidgety. Like I'm feeling kind of like shaky and erratic thinking about it. For the people around you, or for your partner, we have the Eight of Wands right here, and that's that first decan of Sagittarius, which for you is your fifth house, Leo. So I mean, the fifth house is the house of children, so if it is relevant to somebody who's maybe pregnant or has a new child or has a new creation, we'll stick with that, entering their life experience, like it's the result of partnership. And I feel like this person or this other party is providing an invigoration of sorts. Like they almost feel to me to be like the catalyst behind why you have all this energy. Like they lit the fire and now it's burning out of control, and like you got to do something with it, but you don't want to put it out naturally. Like you don't want to throw the water on it. You want to fan it and make it even larger. Whatever that means. Like you want to work with this energy while it's available to you. For your hopes and fears, what I'm going to be considering your fourth house placement, kind of working with changing how I interpret this particular spread of cards. But you have the Wheel of Fortune, or just Fortune, and it's reversed. And that's Jupiter's card. So Jupiter currently is still in Gemini, which for you is your 11th house, which actually kind of calls out to the idea of hopes generally anyway. I feel like this vision, this idea that's, that seems to be so worth pursuing that you don't care, you'll bulldoze through, or somebody's going to be bulldozing through any obstacle that presents itself just to get to this ideal, to manifest this, whatever this is. I'm trying to focus on the idea of like an idea because the Knight of Swords is air, and air is more like cerebral, intellectual, like ideology, belief, thought pattern, even communication, like literal words, whether spoken or on paper or even just like thought about. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting to me that the card is reversed, and with the imagery you kind of see like these lightning bolts reaching pyramidal shape. So it's like the earthy foundation kind of reaching up to the heavens symbolically, rather than the other way around, which I think was a theme with Cancer's reading, this idea of instead of like the celestial, cosmic, solar energy coming down to earth where it's manifest, it's like we're manifesting heaven on earth. And that's maybe the idea that's being charged towards. Like something so good and so, I wanted to say beautiful, but then I was also saying peaceful, something that you gotta get to, like that erratic energy's coming through again with this Knight of Wands. Like you gotta get it, gotta go there, gotta make this happen, because it's everything. And if we go back to like this child analogy, like I can think of it as being like this overwhelming need and hope to provide a life that is wonderful for this new child, or for this creation, whatever that is. I'm also seeing like this image of like an artist trying to get their work put into a museum, and like that environment being conducive for the display of their effort, like the environment being supportive for their creation. Like that could be a different manifestation of this, and wanting that to be like the catalyst that brings you up into prominence, into the wider vision. And at the culmination point, this 10th house area of the spread, if we're going to go with my new ideas, is the Queen of Wands. And that's you, Leo. Like, fully embodied, fully empowered. You know, you've harnessed this erratic creative energy and directed it into something that's usable, workable, and focused. And pleasing, I'm hearing. Like, you're still able to enjoy the undulations of the energy flow while using it to your advantage, using it to manifest your particular goals. And looking at this sort of progression from the Wheel of Fortune card in reverse, and how these lightning bolts kind of come up here and culminate in this radiant figure who's got the power of the sun radiating out of her. Like, that could be the hope, this rising into power and prominence. You know, the energy bursting forth from you, but instead of being erratic and uncontrollable, it's tempered. And every undulation is a product of your willing it. Every form it takes, you have given. Like, you've given the energy the form. So this is like a figure who trusts themselves, somebody who remembers what they're capable of, and remembers their power, remembers their strength and their might. And if we go back to the child image, this is the mother who has accepted the new role that she's taking upon herself and trusting her bodily intelligence, her ancestral wisdom to guide her through the process. And it's helping her to feel like she is capable of taking this on. So reconnecting with that energy, which is very solar. So again, like if you are able to, and you don't have any like health issues or anything that are related to this, get yourself out in the sun, or even just contemplate the energy of the sun. Find your inner sun and reconnect with that and allow that to radiate through you, because you are the vessel that the sun works through. You are the solar embodiment, Leo. So channel that. Use it. Manipulate it. I don't necessarily like the word manipulate, or at least the connotations that come with it. But really, all it connects to is like your hands, and like directing and shaping things with your hands, with your will, which is very Leo-centric. The will. And with that, I think that's it for your reading, because it's starting to get a little bit fragmented now. But yeah, hopefully you got something good from this reading. I wish you the best. And I hope you're enjoying yourself, within reason, of course. Because I think you are. Take care, Leo.